What if your dreams are crushed not by your own failings, but by someone else's prejudice? What if the one thing standing between you and success isn't your talent, but the color of your skin? At Hollowbrook High, football wasn't just a game, it was a tradition, a bloodline running through every player who wore the blue and gold. And at the center of it all stood Riley Graves, the most gifted quarterback the school had ever seen. Strong, sharp, and calculated, Riley had the talent to lead Hollowbrook to the championship. But none of that mattered to Derek Thorpe. Derek, with his towering frame and effortless swagger, was the embodiment of what every Hollowbrook player was supposed to be. Born into the game, carrying the weight of history on his shoulders. His father had been the head coach. His uncle's name was carved into the Hall of Fame. To Derek, Riley wasn't a teammate. He was a disruption to everything he thought he deserved. And worse, a threat he couldn't allow to stand in his way. Coach Maddox had been careful, splitting first-team reps between Riley and Derek to see who deserved the starting role. And every day, Riley worked harder, played smarter, and outperformed Derek. But that didn't sit well with Derek, not one bit. Riley wasn't just taking his spot, he was threatening his entire legacy. "Hey, bench warmer." Derek's voice sliced through the noise on the field as Riley jogged past during warm-ups. Riley didn't break stride. This wasn't the first time Derek had called him out. It wouldn't be the last. Derek stepped into his path, blocking him with a smirk. "You hear me, Graves? You can't lead a team. You're just here because the school needed diversity." But let's be real, quarterbacks need brains, not just speed. Riley's jaw tightened. He had heard this before, and every time it stung more. "What do you want, Thorpe?" Derek grinned, an arrogant glint in his eyes. "I want my position back. I want this joke of a competition to end. You're not cut out for this." Riley kept his eyes locked on Derek's. "And why is that?" Derek's smirk widened. "Because you can run. Sure, you can throw. Fine. But leading a team? Reading defenses? That's not your game, Graves. That's mine." Riley's chest burned with frustration, but he kept his voice calm. "You think this is about a game? About who's got the better stats?" "I know I'm better," Derek said, voice dripping with arrogance. "You don't belong here." Riley clenched his fists by his sides, fighting the urge to respond with anger. It wasn't just Derek's words. It was the entire attitude that followed him. The team looked away, too uncomfortable to speak up, too scared of what would happen if they did. But this time was different. Coach Maddox had heard enough. From the sideline, the veteran coach stepped onto the field, his eyes narrowing. The team went silent. Maddox's presence commanded attention. "Gather up," he called, his deep voice cutting through the air like a blade. The players rushed to form a circle. Derek, expecting business as usual, just smirked, waiting for practice to continue. But when Coach Maddox's gaze fell on him, Derek's stomach twisted. "Derek," Coach Maddox said, voice low but unyielding, "you're done." Derek blinked. "What?" "I'm stripping you of your captaincy. Effective immediately." A shocked silence fell over the team. "Coach, you can't be serious," Derek stammered, his face flushing red. "I heard every word," Coach Maddox interrupted, his tone unwavering. "You insulted your teammates' abilities, his intelligence, his place on this team. That's not leadership. That's disrespect." Derek's hands balled into fists. "This is my team." Coach Maddox's gaze hardened. "No, it's not. It belongs to the players who earn it." The coach turned to Riley, who was standing there stunned. "You're the captain now." Riley's breath caught in his throat. He hadn't expected this. He had just wanted a fair chance, a shot to prove he could handle the pressure. But now he had something bigger than that, a responsibility that Derek's face went pale. "You can't do this. My family built this program. My name is in these walls." Coach Maddox's eyes locked onto him. "You don't own this program, Derek, and right now, you're lucky I'm not benching you for good." Riley stood there, unsure of how to respond. But his silence spoke volumes. He wasn't just the quarterback now, he was the leader. Coach Maddox wasn't done. "And since you care so much about football IQ, Derek, you'll be spending the next week in the film room. Watch every single game from last season. Pay attention, because you'll notice something interesting." Derek frowned, confused. "Like what?" "Like how every major win this team had was thanks to Riley," Coach Maddox said, his voice crisp and final. "Every key play, every smart call, that was Graves, not you. You've been coasting this whole time, riding his work. and you didn't even realize it. The team's murmurs spread through the locker room. Realization hit like a freight train. Derek's mouth opened, then shut. There was nothing left to say. Coach Maddox turned back to the rest of the players. That's it. Practice is over. Hit the showers. As the team dispersed, Riley remained standing by the sideline, feeling the weight of what had just happened. This wasn't just about football anymore. It was about respect, and now he had a chance, not just to lead, but to prove everyone wrong. The stadium lights gleamed off his helmet as he took one final look at the field, preparing himself for the battle ahead. The state championship was just days away, and everything was on the line. The tension in Ashburn Stadium was unbearable. The scoreboard flashed. Hollowbrook down by 5 with 1 minute remaining. No timeouts. No second chances. Just one final drive. Riley Graves stood in the huddle, his teammates surrounding him, each of them breathing heavily, their faces etched with exhaustion. They had fought hard, but it had all come down to this moment. The championship, their legacy, and everything they had worked for in a single high-stakes play. Riley took a deep breath, his heart pounding in his chest. The noise from the stands seemed to fade as he locked eyes with his teammates. "We're winning this game right here, right now," he said, his voice calm yet filled with determination. Fellies, one of the star wide receivers, grinned. "Let's eat," he said, excitement in his voice. The players broke the huddle, and Riley took his position behind the center, the weight of the game on his shoulders. His mind was clear. His focus was sharp. He had been preparing for this moment for years, and now the chance to prove everyone wrong was in his grasp. The ball was snapped, and everything slowed down. Riley dropped back, eyes scanning the field, reading the defense. Ridgeview's defense came at him like a wall of hungry wolves, but he was ready. With quick, fluid movements, he danced through the pocket, dodging defenders who were closing in fast. His feet moved like clockwork, each step calculated to avoid the chaos. His eyes never leaving his targets downfield, he saw Tark break free from his defender. The safety was closing in fast, but Riley had only one option. He planted his feet firmly, his arm coiling like a spring. In one smooth motion, he launched the ball into the air. A perfect arc, a perfect spiral. Tark sprinted toward the end zone, his arms outstretched, eyes locked on the descending ball. The crowd held its breath. The safety lunged, trying to intercept, but it was too late. The ball dropped like a gift from the sky. Tark leaped, fingertips brushing the ball just before it hit the ground. In one fluid motion, he caught it. The stadium erupted into deafening cheers as Tark hit the end zone, securing the touchdown that would seal Hollowbrook's victory. Touchdown, Hollowbrook. The championship was theirs. The team swarmed Riley, lifting him off the ground, their cheers deafening as they celebrated the impossible comeback. Coach Maddox rushed to Riley, wrapping him in a bear hug. "You did it, kid," he shouted over the noise, his voice thick with pride. Riley, breathless and overwhelmed, glanced to the sideline. Derek Thorpe sat alone, his head in his hands. His eyes were empty, the weight of his failure crushing him. For so long, he had doubted Riley, belittled him, tried to sabotage his place on the team. But now, Riley had led the team to victory. He had proven not only his worth, but his leadership. The crowd continued to roar as reporters rushed onto the field, microphones in hand, eager for a soundbite from the hero of the game. "Any words for your doubters?" one reporter asked, shoving a microphone toward Riley's face. Riley exhaled, his eyes locking onto the flashing scoreboard, the numbers signaling their victory. He turned toward the camera, a smile tugging at his lips. "Never let anyone tell you that you don't belong," he said, his voice steady, every word carrying the weight of everything he had overcome. The crowd erupted in applause, their cheers reaching a crescendo that drowned out everything else. Riley had made history, not just by winning the championship, but by proving that with determination, courage, and the will to push past hate, anything was possible. As the celebration continued, Riley felt a weight lift off his chest. He had done it. He had silenced every doubt, every insult, every challenge. And as for Derek, Riley knew that this victory wasn't just for the team. It was a message to everyone who ever underestimated him, to everyone who thought someone like him didn't belong. This was his time. But the story didn't end here. What would happen to Derek? Would he ever learn from his mistakes? And what was next for Riley? Would this championship be the beginning of a new legacy? One where he was the leader, the hero, the quarterback everyone could believe in. The cameras kept rolling, the lights still flashing. Riley had made his mark. But the next chapter was just beginning.